Hello everybody. Imagine a country where technology thrives, but belief is barely a whisper. In Estonia, a small Baltic nation adorned with medieval castles and dense forests, more than half of the population does not believe in God. Churches stand silent, no longer places of worship, but tourist attractions or concert halls. In schools, religion isn't taught. Mentioning God in everyday conversation might even earn you strange looks. Estonia is a world apart from the religious majority nations we often hear about. It is, according to various international surveys, one of the most atheistic countries on earth. Here, science is more trusted than revelation, and spirituality is often viewed as a relic of the past. And yet, beneath this rational, secular atmosphere, something is quietly stirring. It's subtle. It's soft. But it's real. In the snowy heart of Tallinn, from an unassuming building tucked away on a quiet street, a voice gently rises. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. The Adhan. In Estonia. No, this isn't a recording. It's not a sound effect from a documentary. It's the real call to prayer from a small Muslim community in Tallinn, one that grows steadily, like a candle flickering in a storm. Their numbers are small, barely a fraction of a percent of the population. But their presence is beginning to stir curiosity. How is it that in a land so seemingly devoid of religion, some are choosing to turn around, to seek something spiritual, and ultimately, to embrace Islam? We'll soon dive into the heart of that question. But first, we need to understand something crucial. Islam in Estonia is not about big numbers or mass conversions. It's about quiet searches, a longing for peace amid the noise of modern life, and bold decisions sparked by questions whispered in the soul. This chapter isn't just about Estonia. It's about a global phenomenon, how Islam is growing in the most unexpected places. And this journey is just beginning. Behind the ancient stones of Tallinn's old town, behind the walls of castles once ruled by the Teutonic Knights, lies a nearly forgotten trace, the footprint of Islam in northeastern Europe. Few know this, but the story of the first Muslims in Estonia is not new. They were neither tourists nor modern missionaries. They were Tatars, a Muslim ethnic group from Russia, who in the early 20th century settled in Estonia as traders and dock workers. They came without fanfare. They worked, married, built homes, and quietly practiced their faith. In the towns of Narva and Tallinn, they created small spaces for prayer and gathering. No grand mosques. No loudspeakers. Yet Islam lived, albeit in whispers. Time went on. Estonia fell under Soviet rule. All religions, including Islam, were banned from free practice. Mosques were closed. Books confiscated. Believers forced into hiding. Islam seemed to fall into a long sleep, buried under the shadows of communism. Yet, like the dawn that never fails to break, Islam gradually re-emerged after Estonia regained independence from the Soviet Union in 1991. As the people celebrated political freedom, a small group also began to celebrate freedom of religion. And from there, a small light of Islam began to shine again. But something was different. If once Islam arrived through immigrants, now it started to grow from the hearts of Estonia's own children, born and raised in an atheist culture but feeling something was missing. One of them was Aivar Lupalu, a native Estonian man who once despised religion. "I used to believe all religions were tools to control the stupid," he said in an interview. But one day, Aivar read a translation of the Quran, intending to find errors and contradictions. What happened was the opposite. He found no contradictions. Instead, he found logic, structure, and peace. He began learning about prayer, ablution, and fasting. He sought out the Muslim community in Tallinn and eventually uttered the Shahada. "Islam doesn't suppress my mind," he said, "Islam guides my mind to places I never imagined." Aivar is not alone. In recent years, the number of Estonian converts has slowly grown. They are not victims of propaganda, nor results of coercion. They come on their own, quietly knocking on Islam's door. From intellectuals and students to housewives, all feel they've found something missing in philosophy or secular systems. The light of Islam is small, but it illuminates a dark place. And in a country like Estonia, one candle can be seen from very far away. As the world becomes increasingly connected, news, both fact and fiction, spreads in mere seconds. On social media and chat groups, one viral narrative races through the digital realm. Islam is exploding across Europe. Millions converted to Islam in 2024. Estonia. That atheist country suddenly becoming a new Islamic hub with hundreds of mosques being built. It sounds incredible, almost like science fiction. But in the real world, the story is rarely that dramatic. To uncover the truth, we must return to the numbers and official data. First, Estonia's population is about 1.1 million people. Of these, the latest census data shows only around 5,800 to 10,000 identify as Muslim, less than 1%. This number is growing slowly but is far from the claim of millions converting in a single year. Then, what about the rumors of hundreds of mosques being constructed? The only official mosque in Estonia is the Estonian Islamic Center in Tallinn. There are no large-scale mosque projects underway, let alone hundreds. State security agencies and local government have never recorded any such massive mosque construction in 2024. So where do these bombastic claims come from? Some news sources spreading these stories come from less credible websites, suspected of exaggerating or even fabricating data. They often link the growth of Muslim communities to global conflicts, especially the Gaza tragedy, as reasons for rising sympathy and conversions. However, Islamic scholars and researchers in Europe agree, conversion is indeed increasing, but gradually and globally, not through a massive boom in a small country like Estonia. What's actually happening is a much subtler phenomenon. The steady, small growth of Muslim communities, accompanied by more open dialogue and interaction. Those converting to Islam are not following a trend, they are on a deep personal search. Ironically, these false narratives can stir fear and misunderstanding in society. Estonia, with its history of vulnerability to foreign influence, is particularly susceptible to such provocative issues. So, behind the sensational headlines lies a simple truth. Islam in Estonia is growing, but slowly and peacefully. Not a destructive tsunami, but a gentle river flowing steadily, watering the dry land. In a windy, snowy corner of Tallinn stands a simple yet meaningful building, the Estonian Islamic Center. This mosque is not just a place of prayer, it is a second home for the small Muslim community in Estonia. Imagine a mosque without a grand dome or towering minaret. The Estonian Islamic Center looks more like an ordinary house, but inside, it is alive with rich life and activity. From the warm prayer room to classes about religion and culture, this mosque serves as a gathering place for everyone, immigrants from Azerbaijan and Tatarstan, international students, and local residents newly acquainted with Islam. In a country where most people are non-religious, the presence of this mosque stands as a symbol of tolerance and togetherness. One day during Ramadan, the mosque was filled with laughter and warm conversations. A communal meal ended with prayer, followed by stories about how they found their way to Islam. There was an Estonian housewife enthusiastically teaching her children about love and discipline in Islam. A student from the Middle East, far from family, found strength in the community. They knew that even though they were small and sometimes overlooked by the majority, their strength lay in unity. The mosque also serves as a cultural bridge. Curious locals often come with questions about Islam. The Muslim community responds warmly, inviting dialogue and dispelling stereotypes. No propaganda, no coercion, only warmth and respect. Many believe that having this one mosque is enough to nurture their faith and identity. It's not about the size of the mosque, but the heart and intention behind it. Despite challenges, moments of confusion, occasional prejudice, the Muslim community in Estonia continues to grow with peace and sincerity. Estonia may not be the center of the Islamic world, but for those within it, Islam is a home that gives meaning and hope. Islam in Estonia is not a great explosion breaking the silence. It is a quiet journey, winding and full of meaning. In a land nearly devoid of religion, where many souls live without spiritual seeking, there are a few who choose a different path. They find Islam not because of trends or pressure, but because of an inner need that the material world cannot satisfy. They build new lives with a faith that is simple yet strong, holding on to values of humility, honesty, and peace. This phenomenon teaches us something important: the growth of religion is not always about big numbers and public applause. Sometimes, it is about one small candle that keeps burning even as the wind blows hard. Estonia is a real example of how Islam can appear and grow in the most unexpected places, in the most humane and elegant way. It teaches patience, tolerance, and dialogue, values the world desperately needs today. And who knows? From that one small candle, a brighter light may someday emerge, not through force or loudness, but through sincerity and peace. In Estonia, Islam is not a story of domination. It is a story of hope, of the courage to choose a quiet path filled with light.